There is a creature with 3 hearts. It bleeds blue. It tastes with its skin. And when it sprints, its main heart actually stops beating. This is the octopus, and it proves that evolution can build a genius without a spine and without a single central headquarters. Somewhere in deep time, roughly 600 million years ago, our paths split. We went one way, they went another. And yet, in the ocean, they still built something that looks disturbingly like intelligence, problem-solving, planning, curiosity. So when an octopus looks back at you with those rectangular pupils, you're not just looking at an animal. You are looking at a living, breathing alternative for life on Earth. A creature that traded a skeleton for a supercomputer brain and a body of pure possibility. But how did a glorified snail become the smartest invertebrate on the planet? And why would nature build such an incredibly complex mind in a body programmed to die in just 2 years? Welcome to World Untangled. Today, we're meeting the alien next door and untangling the biology that made its mind possible. To understand how strange the octopus is, we have to rewind to the fork in the road, deep time, when evolution splits into 2 very different experiments. One branch led to the vertebrates, fish, reptiles, mammals, and eventually us. The other branch led to the mollusks, clams, oysters, snails, and slugs. For a long stretch of Earth's history, the mollusk survival strategy was simple and brutally effective. Build a hard shell. Turn your body into something predators can't easily bite through. Let the armor do the work. Passive defense. Simple, reliable. You can see this legacy today in the nautilus, a distant cousin of the octopus. The nautilus kept its shell. It's a reminder of what safe looked like in the ocean. Shielded, steady, built to endure. A living fossil coasting through time. But much later, around 140 million years ago, in the Jurassic, one lineage of mollusks did something radical. They abandoned the fortress. The ancestors of the modern octopus lost their heavy protective shells. This was a massive evolutionary gamble. Suddenly, they were exposed. Soft-bodied prey in an ocean full of fast hunters, sharks, large marine reptiles. They were the perfect snack. To survive naked in a sea of monsters, they had to invent a completely new strategy. They couldn't out-armor their predators anymore, so they had to outthink them. This is the ocean's arms race, often described as the marine Mesozoic revolution. The octopus traded its shell for speed, agility, and most importantly, computing power. It forced the development of a massive nervous system to control a body that had infinite degrees of freedom. Without a shell, their only defense was their wits. To build those wits, nature had to start from scratch. The result is a masterpiece of what scientists call convergent evolution, when nature solves the same problem in 2 completely different ways. Take the eye. Humans have a camera-style eye. It's a great piece of engineering, but it has a massive design flaw. Our nerve fibers sit in front of the retina, blocking light and creating a literal blind spot. The octopus evolved in the murky depths, totally isolated from us, yet it built the exact same camera-style eye. But they wired theirs logically, with the nerves behind the retina. They have no blind spot. Their brain never has to guess or fill in missing information. In an ocean full of ambush predators, they have a completely uninterrupted, hyper-reliable view of the world. But while their eyes are an upgrade of ours, their brains are completely alien. An octopus has hundreds of millions of neurons, roughly the same order of magnitude as a dog. But where a dog keeps its brain locked safe inside a skull, the octopus smeared its mind across its entire body. Only a third of its neurons sit in the donut-shaped brain wrapped around its throat. The rest is out in the arms. This means an octopus doesn't just have a brain, it has a network. Your limbs are tools. Theirs are agents. The central brain doesn't have to micromanage every movement. It just issues a general command like, "Search that hole," and the arm takes over, feeling, tasting, and thinking locally. Evolution gave them the wiring toolkit to build a complex, decentralized system from scratch. If you love untangling the hidden rules that shape our planet, show some love by hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. So the real question for octopus isn't whether it can think. The question is, what kind of mind grows out of 8 independent hands? Running a decentralized supercomputer across your whole body takes energy. Hence, the octopus operates like a high-cost biological machine, and that machine runs on a few bizarre upgrades. First, it bleeds blue. Humans and other vertebrates run on hemoglobin, iron-based, efficient, turns blood red. But octopuses use copper-based hemocyanin, which carries oxygen and turns their blood blue. It performs especially well in cold, low-oxygen water, but the trade-off is that it's thicker and harder to pump. Second comes the hearts. To move that thicker blood, one pump isn't enough. So they evolved 3. 2 branchial hearts send blood to the gills to load up oxygen, and one main heart pushes it through the body. It works, but it's a high-cost circulatory system that requires constant energy. And here's the catch. When an octopus jet propels to escape, that burst can briefly disrupt circulation. Its main heart may pause for a moment. So sprinting isn't free. It comes with an oxygen bill, which is why the octopus isn't built to be a marathon swimmer. It's built to be a tactical crawler. Vanish, outmaneuver, solve, escape, then disappear back into the reef before biology catches up. To survive as a tactical crawler, you need to be able to read the battlefield without exposing yourself. Which brings us to the third feature, taste by touch. Each sucker on an octopus's arm isn't just a suction cup. It is a chemical sensor array. They don't just feel the reef, they chemically taste it. They have specialized receptors that let them read a surface the exact same way your tongue reads flavor. So when an arm reaches into a dark crevice, it's not waiting for the central brain to tell it what's there. The arm is already deciding. It's a mind with 8 roaming fingertips, judging the world before the head even knows what's happening. But what happens when sneaking fails? That triggers the fourth feature, biochemical warfare. When an octopus is spotted, it deploys ink. But this isn't just a cartoon smoke bomb. It's a highly sophisticated countermeasure. The ink is a thick cloud that actually holds the physical shape of the octopus. It's a literal decoy, a pseudomorph designed to take the predator's bite. But it does more than just blind. This ink is a chemical weapon that irritates and disrupts chemosensory tracking. If a shark or a moray eel gets a face full of it, it doesn't just lose its vision. It temporarily loses its ability to smell and taste its prey. It literally scrambles their guidance system. For a soft-bodied animal, biology isn't just anatomy. It is a weapons toolkit of decoys, sensory jamming, and biochemical leverage. If the octopus brain is the software, its skin is the ultimate hardware. And it might be the most advanced camouflage system on Earth. A chameleon takes 20 seconds to change color. An octopus can do it in 200 milliseconds, faster than you can blink. It does this using tiny, elastic sacs of pigment called chromatophores. Each sac is wired directly to the nervous system. When the brain flexes a muscle, the sac stretches open to display a color. When it relaxes, it shrinks to an invisible dot. It's exactly like a pixel on a television screen, but powered by muscle instead of electricity. But color is only half the trick. By flexing specialized muscles, it can instantly warp its skin, from smooth as glass to jagged and spiky, perfectly mimicking coral, sand, or seaweed. It creates a physical 3D map of its surroundings on its own body. This isn't just camouflage, it is dynamic invisibility. But here is the ultimate biological paradox. Cephalopods only have one type of photoreceptor, which means they are color-blind. So how do they perfectly match colors they can't even see? This is where the science gets incredibly weird. One theory is that their bizarre, U-shaped pupils act like a prism, splitting light to read colors without needing color cones. But it gets stranger. In 2015, scientists discovered that octopus skin literally contains the exact same light-sensitive proteins found in eyes. The skin itself can sense light. Its perception pushed all the way out to the edges, which means an octopus isn't just seeing the reef, it's wearing it. And for one specific species in Indonesia, this hardware isn't used for hiding. It's used for psychological warfare. This is the Mimic Octopus. It doesn't just blend into the sand, it impersonates other toxic animals. If a territorial damselfish attacks, the Mimic Octopus won't retreat. It will shove 6 of its arms down a hole, stretch the remaining 2 out, band them in black and white, and start undulating. In a fraction of a second, a soft, helpless octopus becomes a highly venomous banded sea snake, the exact predator that fish is terrified of. If it's caught in the open sand, it flattens out and swims like a toxic flatfish. It deploys different disguises depending on the specific threat it faces. It understands what its enemy fears, and it becomes that fear. In Chapter 3, you watched it do something that feels like magic: rewrite its skin, disappear, even impersonate danger. But camouflage like that isn't just a body trick, it's a decision, and decisions require a mind. For a long time, we defined intelligence by human standards: tool use, planning, and play. We treated those as the private property of mammals and birds. Then the octopus showed up and embarrassed that definition. In 2009, researchers filmed veined octopuses doing something that shouldn't exist in an invertebrate. They collected coconut shells and carried them across the sea floor. Not to eat, not to hide right now, to use later, assembling the shells into a portable shelter when they reached open sand. That's not reflex, that's planning. And then there's play, behavior with no immediate payoff. Play wastes energy. It attracts attention. Most animals don't do it unless they're smart enough to get curious. In labs, octopuses have been seen repeatedly manipulating objects for no clear reason, like blowing a floating bottle back and forth in a current, almost like a game. It's not hunting, it's exploration, practice, boredom, maybe even joy. Sometimes it looks like mischief. Aquariums have reported octopuses escaping tanks, raiding nearby fish, then returning before morning. In one famous case at the University of Otago in New Zealand, keepers reported an octopus learned to short-circuit the bright lights shining into his tank by squirting a precise jet of water at the electrical transformer outside. He did it repeatedly until they released him back into the ocean. Even more unsettling, they appear to recognize individual humans. Controlled studies suggest they react differently to different keepers, even when those humans dress the same, and then it sleeps in chapters. Studies suggest octopuses cycle between quiet rest and an active phase, eyes twitching, suckers moving, skin flashing patterns like it's replaying the day. It's tempting to call it REM-like sleep, maybe even dreaming. What does an octopus dream about? We can only guess, but the flashing patterns on their skin suggest they are reliving the events of the day, a hunt, a threat, a change in the current. All of this breaks the fundamental rules of biology. For decades, scientists believed that intelligence evolved to help animals navigate the complex politics of living in a tribe. This is called the social intelligence hypothesis. But the octopus is the ultimate loner. It has no parents, no friends, no society. The octopus forces us to accept a different theory, the ecological intelligence hypothesis. This suggests that intelligence can evolve simply from the pressure of surviving in a complex, dangerous environment without a weapon. The octopus lost its shell. To survive as a soft protein bar in a hungry ocean, it had to become creative. It didn't get smart to talk to its friends. It got smart to avoid being eaten. When humans encounter a mind this alien, we don't file it under animal. We file it under monster, the kraken, the akorokamui. We fear what doesn't fit our template, but there is no reason to fear them. Because despite all of this genius, nature installed a cruel timer, a biological self-destruct sequence. If the octopus is so smart, why hasn't it taken over the world? Why aren't there underwater cities of cephalopods? The answer lies in a cruel biological trap. The octopus has a fatal flaw: its lifespan. Despite their high intelligence, most octopus species live for only 1 to 2 years. They are semelparous. They reproduce once, and then they die. This process is programmed into their biology. When a female octopus lays her eggs, her optic gland triggers a massive shift in steroid hormone pathways. It initiates a hormonal cascade of senescence and self-destruction. She stops eating. She guards her eggs obsessively, blowing oxygenated water over them, slowly starving herself to death. By the time the eggs hatch, she is dead. And here's the most unsettling part. In classic experiments, when scientists removed the optic gland, the death spiral could be delayed. The mother didn't flip into that rapid self-destruction. She could stop brooding, resume eating, live longer. Which means this isn't just exhaustion. It's not the cost of motherhood. It's closer to a switch, an internal command that says, "Mission complete." Evolution didn't forget to give the octopus a long life. It chose a short one. This means that every baby octopus is an orphan. It enters the world with zero knowledge passed down from the generation before. A human child learns from parents, teachers, and books. We stand on the shoulders of giants. An octopus has to figure out the entire world from scratch, alone, every single time. They can never build a culture. They can never accumulate knowledge. This is the great tragedy of the octopus. Evolution built a Ferrari engine and put it in a car that is designed to fall apart after one lap. But how does a species survive if it wipes its own hard drive every single year? It doesn't have time to wait for slow, multi-generational evolution to save it from a changing ocean. So, before they die, they do one final thing that completely baffles scientists. They hack their own software. In most animals, DNA is a strict, unchangeable blueprint. But octopuses have mastered something called RNA editing. They can chemically alter their own genetic messages on the fly. If the water suddenly gets freezing cold, an octopus doesn't have to wait thousands of years for a random genetic mutation to adapt. It simply edits its RNA in real time to produce new proteins that work better in the cold. It upgrades itself. But there is a massive penalty. To keep this real-time hacking system working, their core DNA has to remain frozen. They cannot evolve long-term mutations like we do. They sacrifice the long-term progress of their entire species just to be brilliant, highly adaptable individuals for one single year. The octopus might be trapped in a short lifespan, but its influence on our world is just beginning. Because now, human engineers are trying to steal its blueprints. Engineers are looking to the octopus for the future of soft robotics. Traditional robots are rigid, heavy, and dangerous to work around. But an octopus arm is soft, flexible, and immensely strong. Researchers are building octobots, robots made of silicone and powered by gas or fluid, mimicking the muscular hydrostats of an octopus tentacle. These robots can squeeze into tight spaces, grip irregular objects, and work safely alongside humans in ways metal robots never could. We are finally learning to build machines that think and move like the alien next door. So, what exactly is the octopus? It is a biological rebel. It is a creature that broke all the rules. It proved that you don't need a spine to be smart. It proved that you don't need to be social to be conscious. It proved that you can see with your skin and think with your arms. And humanity is finally waking up to this reality. In 2022, the UK formally recognized cephalopods as sentient beings under the law, following similar steps by the European Union. When a nervous system looks this alien, our moral systems lag behind, until they don't. The octopus is a reminder that intelligence is not a single destination that only humans have reached. It is a vast, unexplored ocean. When we look into the tank at an aquarium, we are not looking at a lesser creature. We are looking at a peer, an equal intelligence, trapped in a radically different existence. If we want to make contact with aliens, we don't need to look to Mars. We just need to look in the tide pools. Because right here on Earth, in the cold and the dark, a mind is at work that is as alien to us as anything in the stars. But it leaves us with one massive what if. The octopus is a genius, but it only lives for 2 years. If they lived as long as humans, do you think they would have built an underwater civilization? Or does their solitary nature make that impossible? Share your theories in the comments below. To untangle more of the incredible stories hidden in our own world, subscribe to World Untangled and join us for our next deep dive.